Legends of Tomorrow, season finale, episode 13. Knocked down, knocked up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of this season of Legends. It's your boy Icon with some DC TV here to review the season finale of Legends of Tomorrow. So, this particular episode starts, and apologies to everyone out there for the late reviews because, yeah, a lot's been going on, like between, trying to catch up with the other DC TV shows, out working and everything, and then the Batman came up, and then when the Batman popped up, that definitely threw a monkey wrench, like in my recording schedule. So yeah, but we're back. We're here to review Legends of Tomorrow and kick the 7th season off. Send it off in a good way. So this particular episode starts where we last left, where the Legends they did retire. So apparently they were too legit. they were not too legit to quit because they quit. And, they all went to go live the lives that Gideon had showed them in the previous episode. But they did agree to get together once a week to have dinner. While the Legends were coming together to have that dinner, both Sarah and Ava, they were talking about, the possibilities of having a child. I guess they were speaking about adoption, or they were talking about, I guess, like using artificial insemination on Ava, because they both decided that Ava would be the baby carrier, because I guess Sarah didn't want to have anything to do with carrying a baby. And they were talking about like baby names and things of that nature. So they come in, the whole gang comes in, they're having a conversation, they're talking about like, because it's been about 2 weeks, since they retired. And they're just like, oh, what's everybody been up to? And then everybody was 100% completely miserable. Nobody was really happy with what they were doing. They weren't happy with the futures that, that was given to them by evil Gideon. And they didn't really want to say anything to each other about it, so they just kept like pushing it off and asking the other person, well, so how's your thing going? And how's your thing going? But meanwhile, they were all like really like, like down and depressed about it. Now, not Constantine. He had went back. He jumped in his time machine, and he went back to the World War to go save Alan, from dying. And then Gary, who got shot out of the ship, out of the Wave Rider, he ended up in caveman times. And luckily for him, he still had his magic key, his Constantine key. And he used his Constantine key, try saying that 3 times fast, to open a portal to get back into the house. So he gets back into the house finally, like he's been there pretty much like forever. And when he finally gets back into the house, like he sees the whole gang, he sees everybody there, and then they see him and they're just like, oh, what happened? And where's Gideon? And that's when he tells them that, like the alien, like the ship, like the evil Gideon AI tried to kill him and shot him out the Wave Rider. So everybody was talking about that, like how they're gonna save Gwen, because they were just like, like Gwen's a legend and like we don't leave our own. And then that's when Gary had told them that, yeah, evil, like Gideon had also told him that Alan's death was a fixed point, and if Gwen tries to save him, he's gonna die. Like the fixer is gonna fix him and he's gonna die. And then they actually showed the scene where, Gwen tried to save Alan. He tried to knock him out so he wouldn't go into the forest and get shot. And then, Gwen ended up getting shot in the chest, and then he died. Gwen ended up dying because, like I said, the fixer, the person who's in charge of protecting that fixed point, ended up killing him. So the Legends all get together. They make their way down to the World War, and then when they make their way down to the World War, they're just like, okay, we need to find Gwen, so this way we can save Alan and we can stop Gwen from getting killed. And then that's when like our Gideon shows up out of nowhere, because she's been traveling through time with evil Gideon, with ship Gideon this whole time. And like they said, Ava even had said, she said that for us, because when they were having the dinner, they were just like, oh, what happened to Gideon? How come Gideon didn't come to the dinner? And then Ava said, well, you got to remember, because she's the one traveling through time and she's the one in the temporal zone, she said that for us, it's only been about 2 weeks, but for her, it's pretty much been a lifetime, because she's been like traveling throughout the course of time. And that time spent with the evil Gideon computer, it changed our Gideon, and it made her a little bit more cold and a little bit, like she was like exhausted and she was annoyed, like she was getting cranky as far as like dealing with time travel and everything. And she wasn't turning into a nice person, like she wasn't happy. She basically became a tyrant as far as like how she handled the timeline and how she fixed the timeline. And then she wasn't happy, because she was just like, oh, I gave you all new lives and I gave you all futures, and you threw it down the toilet, just to ruin, like this the fixed point. And then that's when they told them, they were just like, listen, we're trying to help save save Gwen from getting killed. And she was like, he made his decision, you know. And then she was like, you know, me and the AI Gideon know what we're doing. And then that's when Gary was like, well, did you know what you were doing when she shot me out of the damn out of the damn cargo hold? And then she was like, is that why you left? And then he was just like, yeah. He was like, I ain't leave because I want to. Like, this bitch tried to kill me, you know. And she was like, oh, she must have had good reason. And then Astra got mad because she was just like, oh, I'm very disappointed. She was just like, you know, like, you sound like a robot. I thought you were human, and apparently I was wrong. And then she got mad, and then like she walked away. And then Gideon felt bad because, you know, she like upset her mommy, and then she went back on the ship, and then she was talking to, you know, to evil Gideon. And then evil Gideon had said to her, oh, I made myself, she's like, I made something for you. It was a brand new Gideon body. She was like, I've become quite well at making these machines. And she said, this one is way more tech. It's high tech, and it has all the gadgets and magic that you require. But she was just like, all I have to do is just put your brain into the machine. And then because our Gideon, because she was so distraught over the fact that she hurt everyone's feelings, and because she was upset, you know, like over the fact that, you know, she was losing control as far as like being on the ship, and she was losing the person that, you know, I guess that she, you know, that the legends liked, she kind of like caved in a little bit, and she was like, fine, upload me into this new body. So she was apparently like, and that's what Gideon wanted all along, because I'm pretty sure that once evil Gideon put our Gideon's brain into that new body, she would have been able to control her. But then while the team was like searching for Gwen, like they found Gwen, and then they told Gwen what was happening. They were just like, bro, this is a fixed point and you're gonna die. And then he was just like, oh, he's like, but I have to save Alan. And they was like, don't worry, we'll help save Alan. But the problem is, if we try to save him, the Fixer is gonna kill us. So we got to come up with a way to stop the Fixer from trying to kill us. And then at that moment, like Astra and, you know, Spooner, the two of them decided to go back onto the Wave Rider and talk to Gideon. When they got on the Wave Rider and they saw Gideon, they stopped Gideon just before she got her brain uploaded into the new body. And then like they pulled her out, and then she was like, oh, I thought you hated me. And then, you know, she was like, oh, we love you, we never hate you. And then she, you know, then that's when she was talking. She was just like, listen, Gideon had realized, you know, because Astra said to her, she was like, you know, like, you need a human interaction, like you shouldn't be on the ship alone, you know. And then that's when Gideon was like, you're right. She was like, because she said the AI was supposed to be learning from me, but she was like, I ended up learning from the AI. And then she said, that's why Rip Hunter, you know, brought people onto the ship, because he knew that the captain needed to be around other human beings. And then she also said that, she said he programmed me when I was the AI, he programmed me to learn from the humans. So she said that all I have to do now is reenact like Rip's programming, so this AI can learn from me instead of the other way around. But then evil Gideon wasn't having it, of course, and then she was just like, oh, you're not going to do this to me. And then our Gideon, she said, you're just a big floating blue head. She was like, what are you going to do about it? And then she ended up uploading herself into the body that she had created, which had like magic powers and invulnerability and like all this craziness. So she puts herself into the evil body now, and now she's like trying to kill Spooner, and Spooner was bout it. Like, I have to say, in this episode, Spooner was definitely bout it. She came out with a shotgun, like, you never take us alive, and then there was like this whole big fight. She blasted evil Gideon's robot face off at one point, and now there's like this big fight between the three of them versus the AI, and they're trying to take the AI down so they can get themselves a hold of the ship. Now, the Fixer, he showed up the day that Alan was supposed to die. The Fixer showed up the next morning, and it's the same. Well, the character's known from, you know, from the TV show Scrubs. I know him from Clueless. He was the boyfriend in Clueless, but a lot of people know him from Scrubs. So that actor, he shows up, you know, he froze time, he was playing golf, and then while he was just walking around the forest getting ready to preserve the fixed point, he bumped into the Legends, because the Legends, they said that they needed a way to get his attention in order for him to not kill them. So they wrote, you know, Fixer, we're the Legends of Tomorrow, please don't kill us, we really need to talk to you. And then when he saw them and they had their hands out with the words up, and then he read the words, he unfroze them. And then, you know, like after he unfroze them, they were all just like, oh, you know, like, you know, we need to talk. And they were just like, oh, we're trying to save Alan. And then he was just like, well, he lied and said, you can call me Mike, but that wasn't his real name. And then, you know, when they told him the plan, they were just like, we just wanted to replace his body with a robot body, because if we do that, then the robot body, you know, will die. And then, you know, history will still be on point and things won't have to change. And then he was like, no. He said, because my boss has put me here on purpose, and I have to preserve this timeline at all costs. And he was like, I can't help you. He's like, I can't do the things that you need to do. And then Ava, she was just like, well, if this particular event, because the reason why this event was a fixed point is because this was the day that time travel was created. Alan's death sparked the invention of time travel. So Mike figured, he said that, you know, I'm here to preserve this particular point in history because we need time travel, like time travel needs to be created. And then Ava was like, true. She said, but if a time traveler comes to this point in time to try to fix the fixed point, they would basically erase themselves out of existence because they would get erased before they get a chance to stop the invention of time travel. And then they're just like, if the guy who invented time travel shows up to stop the events of time travel, and they was like, well, that'll create a paradox. And then that's when he realized, he was just like, well, shit, my mission is basically like pointless. He's like, it's useless, and my bosses put me here as a joke. He was like, they put me here for nothing. He said they actually tried to play me, like, he's like, they tried to disrespect me. He's like, they think I'm Boo Boo the Fool or something, like about why they put me here. And then they were just like, well, can you just help us now that you know that, now that you know the situation? They were like, can you just help us, save Alan? So he was like, okay, fine. He was like, I'll help you guys save Alan. So back on the ship, the girls still getting their ass handed to them by evil Gideon. And they were just like, we have to come up with a way to try to stop her, like, because we got to get the ship back. So then our Gideon, what she did was she took Spooner's gun and she blasted the computer board on the deck. When she blasted the computer board, it removed the cloaking, and the Wave Rider was revealed to all the soldiers during the World War. And Gideon's whole thing, the AI's whole thing, the ship's whole thing is to protect the timeline and to stop anomalies. But now that every single person in World War I has seen the Wave Rider, Gideon herself, because Gideon technically is the ship, she's become the anomaly now, and she needs to get rid of herself. So, she ended up like wigging out. She was just like, oh, malfunction. And then she jumps in the Wave Rider. She goes into the temporal zone. And her whole thing about going into the temporal zone was she was going to basically explode the ship and like detonate the ship with her in it, because you got to kill the anomaly. So she goes in, she's about to blow up the ship. She actually succeeds. She blows up the ship. She blows up herself. Our Gideon, Spooner, and Astra, they were all in the ship when it got blown up. But then after it got blown up, the three of them were all floating around in the temporal zone because Astra had created a bubble, a protective bubble around them. And then Astra tapped into all her magical knowledge and all the strength that she could muster. And she ended up putting the Wave Rider back together, which was the one thing she couldn't do when the season first started. And that was pretty cool. Like, that was dope to see her do that. And then after she put the ship back together, there was now no evil Gideon, and the Legends got their Wave Rider back. When they come out of the ship, because Astra was like wiped out after putting the ship back together, they come out of the ship, and then when they come out of the ship, Astra's just like, oh, I need to go lay down for a second. And I don't know why she had to get off the ship. If she just needed to lay down for a second, she could have just slept on the ship. But, they took her away. And then, like Ava had said to Mike, she was just like, okay, so she was like, in a few minutes, you can stop time, do your thing, and then we'll save Alan. And then he was just like, yeah, how about I just like stop time right now? And then when the Legends came to, they were just like, what happened? And they said that, he froze time on us, and he froze time on them so he could steal their Wave Rider, because he was so upset that his bosses, his time bosses, had put him in that fixed point as a joke to disrespect him. He jumped on the Wave Rider. I don't know if he went back up there to curse him out. I don't know if he went back up there to, like get his revenge. I don't know if he just decided he was just going to say screw them and just have fun and do whatever he wanted to. But he stole the Wave Rider and he dipped on him. So now the Legends are pissed because they're stranded now. So they find young Gwen in the forest, and he has Alan with him. And throughout the whole thing, Gwen always kept talking about how the day that Alan died, he didn't help him, and he just stood there frozen and let Alan die, and how he was ashamed of himself for not being there for Alan when Alan really needed him. So then when both Gwen and Gary found the two of them, found his younger self and found Alan, and then Alan, I guess that was the robot dummy Alan. When Alan basically quote unquote died, Gwen's character walked over to him, held him in his arms, and prayed for him and stood by him the whole time. And then Gwen looked at that and he was just like, I don't remember doing that, because he said that, I just remember like looking down and being frozen scared. He was like, I don't remember actually praying or being there for him. So apparently either something changed that we're not going to find out till next season, or Gwen's memory about what happened, is very skewed, because I guess because of the adrenaline, everything that was going on in the moment, he wasn't aware of what he was doing in that moment, and he forgot he actually wasn't a coward. So then Gary went and pulled young Gwen out of the fire so, he can go off to create time travel and blah, blah, blah. They did the swap out for, for Alan, and they were trying to bring Alan back to where the Legends were. Nate was the one responsible to go save Alan and pull Alan out of the fire, because he was going right through a bombing zone, and Nate was going to try to pull him out of the fire. Now, earlier on, we do find out that although Ava and Sarah were trying to get Ava pregnant, we find out that Sarah Lance actually is legitimately pregnant. and she couldn't figure out why she was pregnant. But then Gary told her because she's half alien now, because remember what Bishop did to her, because she has alien DNA now, that the type of species alien that she has in her DNA, they can get pregnant by men or women. And it happens when she's like ovulating, when she's in heat. All it takes is just regular physical contact. And then he was just like, do you guys wear protection when you kiss? And then she was like, no. He was like, well, that's why you're pregnant. So then Sarah starts freaking out. And then it was like so cute. Like she freaked out so much. Like she like hid herself under a blanket. And then she told Ava, that she was pregnant. Then Ava was happy. And then she was like, I can't be the pregnant one, because she wanted Ava to be the pregnant one, but she ended up being the pregnant one. And then the two of them like embraced and everything. And then unfortunately, because she's pregnant now, Gary said that her superpowers, her alien powers, all her powers got transferred over to the baby. So now Sarah is just like a regular human being and she has no powers. So that's why Nate was the one that went to go save Alan, because Sarah couldn't go because, she was pregnant. So then Nate, he finds Alan, he picks Alan up and he starts carrying Alan back to where the rest of the legends are. And then a mustard bomb had went off, and whatever was in the mustard bomb, because like in order to protect Alan from the bombs and the bullets and blah blah blah, Nate steeled up, in order to protect Alan and shield Alan. But when he walked through that mustard bomb, the chemicals that are in the mustard bomb started eating away at his steel skin, and it basically like ate away at all of his steel, and he lost his power. So now Nate's no longer a superhero. And as soon as that happened, as soon as I realized that he lost his steel, and then after Nate saved Alan and brought Alan back into the shack, and Alan was safe and Gwen was safe and everybody was safe, and then Gwen had said to Nate, he was like, oh, the mustard bomb, he was like, it ate away at your metahuman ability, so you no longer have your steel power. Once they said that, I said, yeah, Nate's gone from the show now. And I believe I called that. I said that in the season finale last year, because once Mick left, I legitimately said, watch Nate be the next person. I said Nate will not survive. He will be gone before or by the end of season 7, and I was 100% correct. And then there was one. Sarah Lance is the only surviving legend, the only OG legend left on the show. And now that Sarah's gone, now that Nate is gone, the oldest legend besides Sarah is who? I have to think about that one a little bit more, because I can't think about that right now. So anyway, and then Nate got the weirdest goodbye of like anybody. I'm like, Jax got a hug, he got a hug and a party. Martin Stein got a death. The Hawks just dipped at the end of season 1. Like, Ray got this whole emotional goodbye. Mick and Sarah had a beer together. Nate was just like, well, I saved Alan. I no longer have steel powers. I'm going into the totem now to be with my girlfriend. And then he just dipped. And he was like, peace out. Zari gave him the totem. I don't know why. I don't know what sense that made. But that was very awkward. But Nate's gone. And I called that. Honestly, his powers weren't even in the budget anymore, so it was only a matter of time. So we're moving on, and bless you, young Nate Haywood, like you were a trooper. I still remember when you first appeared on Legends of Tomorrow, when you broke into Oliver Queen's mayoral office and forced Oliver Queen to help you dig the Wave Rider out of the bay. So now that Nate's gone, now that Nate's gone, and they saved Alan and everything, they needed a ship. And then that's when Mike, he brought the Wave Rider back to them. Evil Gideon has been destroyed. And that kind of fell flat to me too, because they made this whole big thing about Evil Gideon, and then they ended the Evil Gideon saga very quickly. I mean, it's not that I have a problem with what happened. It's just that because Evil Gideon was like the main focal point of like villainy, I felt that defeating Evil Gideon should have been stretched out like a little bit longer. They just kind of like offed her very quickly. But anyway, so then, like I said, so the legends are all together again. Everybody's happy, and then Mike ended up bringing the Wave Rider back. And then the legends, they jumped on the Wave Rider. And then when they all jumped on the Wave Rider, they were, like Alan was still there. Like Gwen was showing Alan around and everything. And then showing him the Wave Rider and everything. And then after that, they were talking to Mike, and they were just like, oh, you came back for us. And he was like, yeah, I came back for you guys, because he's like, but me, I had adventures to do and people to talk to and blah, blah, blah. And then when he turned the corner, like Zari had noticed he had handcuffs on. And then she was just like, why are you wearing handcuffs? And then he was like, don't worry. He was like, you all are going to get yours pretty soon too. And then he called, and then he blew the whistle. Then the cops came in and they arrested the Legends, which is crazy because Sarah's pregnant and they threw her face down on the floor. So, but when that happened, they were like I think it was it was Ava or Spooner. One of them was just like, why the hell, or it could have been Astra, but they were like, why are we being arrested? And then Mike was like, you're being arrested. He was like, for what else? He was like, time crimes. And I'm just like, y'all just now arresting them for time crimes. All the stuff that they've pulled for the last seven seasons, y'all just now arresting them for time crimes. And then one of the cops had said to Mike, he was like, yo, shut up, Buster. And then he was like, it's Booster. My name isn't, he said, my name is Booster Gold. So he lied about his name being Mike. And I was like, wait, Booster Gold? And then it dawned on me the colors he was wearing throughout the entire episode. This dude is Booster Gold. I don't know how I feel yet about Booster Gold being black, but I will say this. Because Booster Gold is a complete idiot and a goof, this actor actually fits the personality perfectly, and I'm pretty sure that's why they cast him in the role. And I'm gonna be honest, I can see him wearing the Booster Gold costume with the sunglasses and like the whole shebang. The only difference is he just won't have the blonde flowing hair, but who cares about that? So this is interesting. Like I said, and then he was just like, oh, we're all gonna spend the rest of our lives in prison, and then that's how the episode ended. And I was just like, okay, so we basically traded Nate in for Booster Gold, and I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. I like the season finale. I like the fact that Astra, basically came into her own as a magician, as a witch or a wizard, whatever you want to call her. I like the dynamic between, like the team thing. I like Katie Lotz's performance and how she emotionally lost her shit when she realized she was pregnant. Like, that was dope. And there's a lot of new things that's happening. Like there's a baby coming. Astra and Bayrod, they're a thing now. Gideon's still here, thank goodness. And now we've got Booster Gold. Yeah, like no Skeets, but we've got. Maybe we will get a Skeets. But share your questions, your comments, and or concerns down below so we could talk about it. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in for this journey of Legends of Tomorrow Season 7. Thank you for taking the ride with me as we went through everything from the 100th episode and beyond. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Leave your comments about what you thought about the season, what you thought about each individual character. Who was your MVP for this entire season? I mean, you gotta say Gideon. Like, I'm not going to pick one person. My MVP of this entire season was the team of Astra, Spooner, and Gideon. I am in love with these three, and if I can just get a show with these three, I'd be perfectly fine with that. So, but let me know who your MVP of the season was. Let me know where you think things will go from here. Does Nate pop up as a cameo in next season? And we'll continue to talk about it. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram because I got my review for the Batman on the channel. The Batman is live and is kicking. I got my season finale review for Batwoman coming up, and we're still doing Superman and Lois, and we're still doing Naomi as we wait for Young Justice. So yeah, guys, that was it. So Legends is in the book. Like, Legends of Tomorrow is done, gone, but not forgotten. We will see Legends in season 8. For all those people that watch Legends, check out my other videos if you just want to hear me talk about all the superhero goodness. But if you only tune in for my channel just to watch Legends of Tomorrow, we'll be back next season for that as well. So that's it, guys. So until next season for some Legends action, protect that timeline. And until then, I'm out this bitch.